Another program, which is close to my heart because my mother is in a nursing home and for years before that lived in an independent living setting, is the Safer Seniors program. And this program is provided in partnership with the Amelia Senior Support Commission, where police officers work hard to enhance the quality of life and safety of senior residents by checking on them periodically. Chief and I, for a good period of time, we were going, we were delivering some Meals on Wheels in the village and checking on some of our senior residents and getting to know them. And we asked questions such as, so many senior citizens are concerned and nervous because they're alone so much. And we just simply asked them if they would be interested in an occasional visit from a police officer just to check on them, make sure that they're okay. And almost to a person, as far as I know, most every person we actually asked about being a part of the program was interested, because these senior citizens oftentimes may go days without seeing family members, and because of the nature of being a senior citizen, sometimes those days feel like weeks, and so they're afraid that something will happen to them and they'll be laying alone in their apartment and no one will know that they're missing or hurt. So what happens is our police officers make arrangements with the senior citizens to stop in periodically, and that's pre-scheduled. It might be once a week, it might be once a month, and it's just a 5-minute visit just to stop in and see how they're doing. And it also provides some institutional knowledge for the police department when, in the event that the squad is called to that home, they know that that is Mrs. Sullivan's home, and they know where she keeps her medicine bottles perhaps, and they know some things about her. Maybe they have information that can help the squad to provide the best care. One of the things that the chief does with the members of the Safer Seniors program is we have on file a list of the medicines they take, their next of kin, etc., so that when we arrive on the scene and the squad arrives shortly after us, we'll be able to hand to the squad drivers, right, here's the medicines Mrs. Sullivan is taking, this is her son, he lives down the road, this is the best number to reach him at, and it expedites the care for that senior. In the case of a senior citizen, moments can mean a lot. Not to any greater degree than the average citizen, but oftentimes in the case of a senior citizen, they need to get care quickly. So that's the purpose of the Safer Senior program. Additionally, there's a homebound program. This program is provided in partnership with the Claremont County Library, where police officers transport library books to homebound senior citizens. And I don't think very many people utilize that, but from time to time, a senior citizen will call and say, I've made arrangements for some books to be dropped off at my home, and it's just a community service for our seniors. Additionally, there was a period of time where the chief, myself, and myself were participating in delivering Meals on Wheels, just in an effort to reach out to the senior citizens and connect with, just to make them feel important, and because we felt it was an important thing. And at some point, the police officers were delivering Meals on Wheels. I think it was it once a month? Yes. It was once a month, and it just gave the officers an opportunity to just check on the residents and see how they are, and again provide that personal touch. This program is provided in partnership with the Amelia Senior Support Commission again, and again this in this program the officers bring the meals to the senior citizens, and this program is currently inactive again due to staffing and funding concerns. While we consider it very, very important, a very important social program, from a fiscal standpoint, it's simply something that we cannot continue at this time. Under the heading of current funding and the current police levies, the Amelia Police Department is currently funded primarily by two levies: a 7 mil levy authorized on November 2nd of 1999, and a 3 mill levy authorized on May 4th of 2010. Although mathematically these two levies should generate 10 mills, the current combined yield for both levies is down to an effective yield of 7.88 mills on residential and agricultural property and 8.31 mills on commercial property. Additional information, the 7 mill levy is based on property valuations from 1999. The 3 mill levy is based on property valuations from 2010. As most voters know, in May of 2010, two levies were placed on the ballot for the police department. They were replacement levies designed to replace the existing 7 and 10 mill levies. At the polls, the 7 mill levy failed. The 3 mill levy passed. And naturally, the 7 mill levy was slated to generate much more in dollars. The 3 mill levy passed and resulted in additional revenues of $23,114. While any increase in revenue is very good, in this case it had minimal impact. And I guess you could say that that's the foundational reason why we're here tonight, revisiting the idea of one 10 mill levy that will replace both existing 3 and 7 mill levies. Council believes that it's less confusing and that it will generate the revenues needed to move the department forward. Now let's talk about the levy fund, the current funding and levy fund shortfall. As the following table demonstrates, the two current police levies simply do not generate sufficient revenue to fund the Amelia Police Department at today's expenditure level. Now, I know that this table is probably not very legible to the folks at home, but at this time I would ask our fiscal officer, Bill Gilpin, if you would just spend a moment and just, for the folks at home, if you wouldn't mind stepping up here, Bill, see if you can explain a little bit on this. This slide is designed to show the current funding and the levy revenue shortfall by year, and to demonstrate that historically the police department has not been able to be fully funded by the revenue it receives from the combined levies. So Bill, Mr. Bill Gilpin, our village fiscal officer.
Thank you, Mayor.
Yeah.
I suppose that is pretty difficult to see.
Yeah.
What this table does show is from 2005 through the projected end of year for 2010.
Bill, will you speak up?
Historically, what the revenue has been, what the expenditures have been, and what the dependence on the general fund has been. For instance, in 2005, the total police revenue was $297,577. The total expenditures were $411,735, which meant that $114,158 was expended in excess of the levy revenue.
Hey, Bill, I'm going to stop you right there. Sure. I'm sorry. Would you step over here? Maybe a little bit closer to this microphone. Because I didn't think it out enough advance to be prepared for that. Yeah, that's all right.
And then to repeat the same thought, in 2006, the expenditures exceeded the revenue by $28,521. In 2007, the expenditures exceeded the revenue by $36,521. And in 2008, the expenditures exceeded the revenue by $64,674. We were fortunate in 2009. We had a very sizable delinquent tax payment came through from some company or individual, which actually resulted in the police department expenditures being slightly below what the levy revenue was. And projected in 2010, we've worked very hard at keeping the expenses down, and we are still estimating to spend about $8,800 more than what the levy generates for 2010.
Anything else you want to add?
The only thing I might like to add is that the chief and his staff has worked very hard to keep the expenditures down. The staffing levels have been very short. We just recently retired one of the police cruisers. I believe the charts back in May showed 4 cruisers on the road. We just recently retired one that had in excess of 100,000 miles. That had a major mechanical breakdown that wasn't financially responsible to fix, not to mention our insurance company had recently asked us to remove that cruiser from service and any other vehicles after they crossed the 100,000 mile mark. They prefer we not keep those in service from an insurance standpoint. And moving forward, the only thing I'd like to say is that if the repercussions if the levy fails will be significant. If the levy passes, they'll allow them to do things at a slightly higher staffing level than they have now, but mainly due to rapidly increasing health care premiums. We're projecting that it's going to get very difficult in the next couple of years without some additional revenue.
Thank you. I wanted to follow up just a little bit, and I meant to do it earlier, and Bill just reminded me. When we were talking about police cruisers and the number of miles on the cruisers and that they have a life expectancy of 100,000 miles, it's not uncommon at all for people this day and age to have cars with more than 100,000 miles on it. I have 2 of them at home, and they run perfectly fine. However, while they could be perfectly well roadworthy, it presents challenges to us from a insuring standpoint, and we just recently found that out, and the insurance company is very, very particular about vehicles that are patrol cars having over 100,000 miles. So the reason I said that is just because, from my standpoint, as a guy sitting in the audience, if I didn't know it, I'd think, well, cars can go 200,000 miles today, easy, you know, but there's a reason for it. After 100,000 miles, the cars will certainly be roadworthy, but perhaps can't serve as a police cruiser. So following up, because the current 2 police levies do not generate sufficient revenue to fund the Amelia Police Department, even at today's expenditure level, Amelia Village is forced to partially fund the police department from the general fund revenue. The general fund revenue is supposed to be utilized for village expenses not funded by levies. Amelia Village must fund its zoning department, administration department, recreation, and county health department charges by means of the general fund. The Amelia Village general fund receives only $397,000 per year. Use of the general fund to fund the Amelia Police Department depletes that fund and reduces other vital services to village residents.